Good afternoon from the Ant Wife's Garden. It is Saturday, April the 11th. Let's take a look at how the spring is progressing. I think it's about time to bring in my cold season crops. Last night the low was 41 and it doesn't seem like the low is going to get much lower after that. We're in the 50s to 60s. So that's an Atlanta spring. It's about 2-3 weeks if you're lucky. And I got some nice baby carrots. They'll make a nice little addition to a roast or something of the like. And then we can put, I don't know, a melon, a squash, something in there. Also take note that I made some bouquets, specifically of the white and pink columbines that I didn't particularly love, so that the only ones I'll be breeding from are going to be these pinks and purples. Everybody take note of this one. This is my favorite. Maybe with these. These are good too. I mean, look at that deep, deep purple. Let's see. Let's get you to really focus on that deep purple. The bumblebees really like these too. Don't think I'm going to see any blossoms on my olive tree. I don't know. Oops. There we go. This one is just so purple, it's almost black. I think that's really cool. So, these two in especial, I want to save their seeds. And the idea is that when I get the fence between me and the neighbor, we can put a nice line of those there, because they grow pretty well in the shade. It's part shade. Anyway, I did bring in my seedlings last night. As I said, it was 41. I was mostly worried because they just don't have a lot of protection around their roots. And I didn't want their roots chilled, because I left everything that was in a pot, and of course everything in the ground, out, and they seemed to be fine. It was very windy yesterday, and I was quite worried about these eggplants and peppers had all fallen over and seemed to just give up, and I was thinking I was going to have to stake everything. But all the peppers seem to have perked back up, and the only casualty might be the top of this eggplant. Maybe I'll stake that eggplant a little bit just to help it along. But everything else seems good. I left the Thai basil out. So if it's not doing poorly, then everything can be out. I'm really going to try to make some pepper treats. I have my, I think that's the California bell. I should probably look, huh? Oh no, that's the jalapeno. That's the California bell. And over here is another bird's eye, peri-peri, whatever. Oh, I finally planted the delphinium. Did we show that? Let's see. I know they're over here somewhere. Oh no, they're over there. Let's look over here. What we do see is that my nasturtium are finally starting to sprout. I was a little worried that I'd over-soaked them, because instead of soaking them overnight, I kind of soaked them for, it wasn't 2 full days, maybe 36 hours. So I planted them all along the line here with the idea that they're kind of draped down. These are the yellow and Empress of India. So they're the Orchid Flame and the Empress of India. So they should be red with some yellow highlights that fade to red. Hopefully it'll be pretty, especially around the lemon tree, because I planted them around the lemon tree. You see some are sprouting. Not sure how they're all gonna do, because I planted them, this is where I kind of ran out of space. I'm like, throw them all in. Because I ended up planting something like 260 nasturtiums. I kind of overbought on the nasturtiums a little bit. Oopsie. It's kind of a self-correcting problem. We'll see the ones that thrive, and we'll plant those again, and those will eventually become a nice sun tolerant, shade tolerant varietal, hopefully. You see our crimson clover is starting to bloom. I like it a lot. As are the chives. Nice, chives are starting to bloom. My Jack Kennedy white rose is coming back. There's some butterfly weed. Again, I'm getting taunted with lots of strawberry blossoms that the chipmunks will eat when they finally become strawberries. Okay, things that also need to be harvested by the side the carrots over there. Probably need to go ahead and give up on cabbages. I planted these last fall, so I will give it one more try this summer with the brassicas, but brassicas may just not be a thing I can grow. That's fine, because the peas are doing well, and if I can get them to get up on a trellis. Again, I really just want some pea tops, a couple of shoots. Look, I've got even more strawberries over here. Look at those strawberries, they're looking really good. So I took out most of the whites. See, I didn't catch them all, and the kind of base pinks. Again, leaving nice bright reds and variegated. There's a red and white over there. Let's see if we can focus in on that. Probably not. There it is. There's a nice white one with a red center. So I'm leaving those that I think are particularly pretty to breed. Here, oh, here's a really pretty one. Because Sweet William are just so fragrant. They're early blossoms. I like them. I've also got my nasturtiums coming up here. Again, the plan is to put some okra in between, so I'll have cascades of white and mahogany with little hints of red, and the okra will grow up out of it. So here we also need to harvest the butter crunch lettuce. I really need to get to harvesting, don't I? I left my marigolds out, even though I put the tomatoes in, and they seem to be doing well to the point where I'm getting some blossoms. They are all going to go in those containers. You see, again, my peppers. I think this is going to be a very pretty bed when it gets a little bit bigger. See, I've got mostly marigolds in the center and the peppers on the outside. That was thoughtful, so it'd be easier to deadhead the marigolds for chickens and harvest and care for the peppers on the edge. Of course, these garlic, I'm thinking these that are planted along the side are just about ready to come out. Their tops are beginning to fall over. I've got pure husks. Look, oops, I'm in my own shadow. Let's go around this way. So looking at these, we've got a completely outer husk on one, and this one graying. I think when I've got two, I'll pull one out and test it. Maybe that one. But these along the x-axis, yeah, the x-axis ones are a little bit further back, which is interesting. Again, we see I'm gonna have to be weeding because I can't really tell what's parsley and chives, and oh, we're starting to get some parsley leaves, so that'll make things helpful with the weeding. But there's also still tons of these volunteer pines. Nasturtiums again, as I said. Brussels sprouts. Look, I'm getting some sprouts. I don't know if they're going to finish their sprouting before I want to put something else in there, but maybe it'll just be flowers for a while. We'll see. I'm thinking I want to put a few more columbine of the purple variety that I get from seeds over there to the right in here, but in the meantime, I think we're going to have lots of impatiens. You see, I have brought my type strains, my purple star and pink star from the back, as well as a cherry splash. A couple that I saved from last year, I've forgotten what they are. I think they're mostly white. My neighbor's hosta. I also found this beautiful hosta out back that I'm gonna dig up and bring back in here. Don't know where I'm gonna put it yet, but I'm gonna put it somewhere. And then just some from inside. My aloe's been outside. I may need to transplant some of these ferns into the window baskets because I think I might have let some of them dry out. I've been very good about watering and fertilizing my window hanging baskets, but they're already looking pretty leggy. I might need to cut them back and give them some more fertilizer. So this is just dusty. It's not as dry as it looks. See, we've had, 4,000 pollen counts. That's pollen. They're nice and moist now, but some of them are looking better than others. See these, I don't know what happened to these two. That one's struggling back, but this one may be done. Same with this one. I don't know. Maybe if I keep the water on it, they'll come back. Ferns are pretty hardy after all. They have made it, what, 250, 300 million years, something like that. So, not seeing much in the way of mushrooms from my mushroom garden, but again, that's a patient person's game. My Fatsy are doing lovely, including, so these are what, 5-year-old, 6-year-old? I can't remember. This one I know is just turning 3. So that's a 3-year-old Fatsia from seed. That's a, let's call it 6-year-old Fatsia from seed. See, I got a few more, got another bird house. Come on. Hoping to get some more residents this year. Oh, and indeed all this enforced isolation, let's say, has allowed me to do a lot of stuff down the side. I've weeded all down the side, kind of scoped out where I'm going to start removing the ivy. See, I've made a pretty good start. I also have started really landscaping the gnome garden. So this year, as I said, we're sorting out all the impatiens. So this is red and white, and our kind of, I don't know, salmon. I don't know what that is supposed to be, crimson white. See, I've moved the gnomes around. So now we're gonna have back there. See, I weeded all that out. Can you see? That used to be all poison ivy. Thank goodness I am immune. A little bit of English ivy. And just some scraggly trees. So I still kind of wanted to keep the barrier. And I do love my little brush garden because, look, you get all kinds of wildlife that hangs out. Oh, are you living in my house? Oh, how awesome. Anyway, so I cleaned a lot of that scrub out. And so the theme is, you know, the zombies coming like kind of out of the bush and this rock wall holding them back, though the Godzilla got the little bitty gnomes. And then I'm just kind of landscaping in here. This is where I'm going to try to put the morels for next year. I have been propagating them. I'm trying to keep this pretty clean and kitschy. And again, I think, let's take a look. Now these are actually dry, so I need to come through here and water. That's one of my goals, probably not today, maybe next week, is to extend this irrigation system that currently serves the hanging baskets and the window boxes a little bit. It still needs modification, but extend it out here and put it on its separate timer, I think, because this doesn't need quite as much water or at the same time as the window boxes. But that's a project for another day, as I said. So this is some wisteria that actually bloomed a little bit this year. So I'm thinking maybe I might put a pergola or something to allow it to grow, because it, you know, it's so beautiful and the bumblebees love it, but it's destructive to the trees. So if I could put it on its own structure, that would be better for everyone. And then again, into my nice little opening, I need to trim some camellias. And yeah, I might need to figure out what I'm gonna do with all of my star impatiens. I think I might, so I can't really landscape back here with the chickens free ranging. So what I may end up doing is kind of landscaping back there in the gnome garden and under the rock wall and in the paths in front. I'm actually got someone coming out to give me an estimate to put a fence here, so I can also landscape on the outside of the fence. So those are options. I did finally get my bee equipment. I'm very proud of myself. So I finally got my bee equipment organized. These are frames that still have some comb in them for bees to draw on. So I make sure that they're facing, this is due south, east to west, so they're always getting light and air, which should keep the wax moths and other pests out. Yeah, so I've got enough equipment for at least 4 more hives, because I've got 4 baseboards, and there's still three boxes? Yeah, 3 boxes full of completely drawn comb that I do need to give to the bees. Oh, and so this is about a 1.5-year-old fatsia. It can stay in this pot probably till next season before it starts to really run out of room, but I kind of want to get it out. I want to get that fence. These are my camellias. I'm so proud of my camellias. They're doing really well, but they're also 3 years old and could probably use a bigger pot, even if I don't quite get it out of that into the ground. I have lots of ferns to spare, so I may just go ahead and refill those window boxes because I can. I want to go back into the forest and get a few more bryophytes. I've seen some really cool stuff. It's kind of blooming right now. The chickens want to come out, but I think I have some stuff to do in the garden before that happens. My avocado is doing surprisingly well back here. So this may be its new home. Maybe I'll move it as the trees leaf out more, because there's still a little bit of spread for those leaves to uncurl. So I might move this a little further towards the other neighbors, the back door neighbors, to get a little bit more sun. Calm down. These are my very favorite. They're the purple and white azaleas. They're always the last to bloom, with the white ones, of both the small white and the big white, and then pink, and then the purple. That's the way that goes. I feel like clockwork. Oh, I forgot to show. My hostas are coming up. These I rescued from under the tree with all the moss by the back door. How many years ago? 2.5 years ago? 2 years ago. 2 years ago, because last year I dug them up, put them in paper towels, and almost starved them to death, and then I planted them, and the chickens kind of nipped on their leaves. I need to weed in here and get some of these volunteer and Lenten roses out. Anyway, the chickens kind of nipped at them, but this year they seem to have gotten big enough that the chickens are leaving them alone. So that's kind of nice. I think that's going to be pretty. And then I can take these seeds and propagate some more next year, and just, again, maybe put them by the neighbor's fence, or, you know, somehow make borders, because they are perennial. They seem to last pretty long. Yeah, chickens want to come out. We'll let them out later. I should let them out now. We'll see. I got to go take stock of what needs to be done in the garden. I'm hoping today's probably only going to get up to 70. Tomorrow or Monday are supposed to be the nicest days to go in, but I really want to see what's going on in Hygeia. I realized that she's probably hatched the first batch, but I'm hoping she doesn't need too much more room. I'm hoping that a week wasn't too long. I don't know, it seems like it was a long time, but for bees, maybe not. As far as the other one, I want to give her her name box. We've decided she's going to be Tamiris, and I can give her some more drawn comb from the freezer. This time we're going to do something different. We're going to go up the side, because I do have some plans for the landscaping on this side of the house. I'm really torn about where I want to put the gate, because it would make all kinds of sense to do it from like that corner to that corner of the neighbor's house, because that's the shortest span, and I could just put a gate in the middle where there's already a path that the children have worn, and that will allow the chickens to have their little extra dust bath spot. But that makes this part of the landscaping that I kind of want to do, where I'd like to put in a concrete path with some customized little paving stones with like the children's handprints and stuff. So, you know, when I'm really, really old and demented, I can come back here and see my cute little baby's fingers. But if I've got a gate right there, it doesn't make sense to have a path to the end of a gate. I don't know. But this is also a spot where I could put some extra ferns and just kind of build it up. But I'd probably have to at least put in a raised bed because this is the worst soil in the world. It's pure clay and sand. So probably with some grease runoff. I also have plans to get rid of this junk fest in my garage. I mean, of course, all of this stuff should be used. I need to do something with it. I have those chairs because I want to make a bench around the tree out back with the moss. I saw some really cool Etsy stuff where I could take these old tables and make seating spaces and stuff. And of course, everybody knows what one does with pallets. So, again, I have these plans. Tangent. This time of year, can we see Ms. Spider there? This time of year last year, there were hardly, come on, focus. You can do it. Maybe you can't. Well, it's one of those adorable little green spiders. And there were hardly any of them this time last year, so I guess we got a lot more rain. That's a good thing. I've started my cucurbits. I only did it yesterday, so we really shouldn't expect anything to be growing. Azaleas. Come on, little. That's my other hosta seed that I got from the neighbor. It's been at that one little stage forever. I'm hoping it will finally take off. I've actually forgotten what. Oh, yeah, okra. I'm finally starting to see some okra sprouts. Let's see, is it in here? Oh, put it again. Maybe we can. Oh, yeah. Finally beginning to see some okra sprouts. I was beginning to give up on that seed. You see, I got my drip irrigation stuff out. Turns out I'm going to need to buy some soaker hose. But that is it for April 11th from the Ant Life's Garden. Come back out here. See, I have some potting soil because, again, New Year's resolution was to leave no pot unfilled. I think I'm going to have to throw away some pots in order to do that, but that's okay. Let's leave with a pretty picture of my Zen garden. So I hope you're having some great gardening joy. Thank you for watching.